Starting and action.
Hello, and welcome to Beer Thursday. We're your hosts, Shayne and Jay. My
You
name
do.
is Jay.
And my name is Shayne.
It sure is. So, Shayne, let's just get right to the point this week.
Well, let's do it.
So, in this particular round of Beer Thursday, we're going to talk about ghosts.
Because May 3rd is National Paranormal Day.
That's right. Not just one norma, but two normals.
Yeah, a paranormals. Both of them.
Paranormals. Some people just have one, but on that particular day, there will be two. A paranormals.
Not sure why it's in the beginning of May instead of late October, but let's just enjoy it.
Hey. As they say.
I've heard that. I've heard it put that way.
So, ghost stories.
It's like Christmas in July, except it's Halloween in May.
Yeah. So we had in one of our earlier podcasts, we talked about ghost hunters, I believe. And I don't recall if we actually shared our own personal experience with ghosts.
Well, we should go back and listen to that round and see if we did later.
I think that's a good idea.
Round 7, ghost shows.
I think, you know what? I think it'd be a great idea for anyone to go back and listen to that.
Anyone.
But I think maybe, first of all, Shayne, do you believe in ghosts?
I believe that I believe in ghosts. I believe that you believe in ghosts.
I believe you.
I've seen things that I thought were ghosts at the time.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a good way to put it.
I've seen things. Well, I've seen things on TV that I can't explain. For example, Comedy
Every
West.
night around 7. Oh, yeah, Comedy West. Okay. Comedy West.
No, well, yeah. Said Kanye West. But that's okay.
I think I said Comedy West.
Yes, you did. I don't know what that is. I can't explain it.
I can't even explain myself on TV or a podcast.
So, Shayne, I, for one, I believe in ghosts. I believe that there's something out there. There's something beyond this earth. I do believe that sometimes people hang around, or their spirits might hang around, or something. And I've seen things that I can't explain. For example, the very first memory I have is when my grandmother died in 1978, which I wasn't even born yet. So, because, you know.
I think you were.
Oh, was I? Oh.
You were like 15 or 20.
Sarah was 9.
Matt's not my favorite.
When my grandmother died, I remember going to the funeral and all that stuff, and then we went back home, and I had this. I thought it was dreaming, but I thought I was awake, and I saw this kind of a white light in the corner of my room, and I didn't know what it was, but I wasn't afraid of it. And then I knew what it was. I knew without a doubt that it was my grandmother. But
wow,
it didn't look like my grandmother. It was just kind of a light. But I felt like she was there, and that was my first experience. And then I had some later on. Do you have one you want to share? I'll share my other one later. I'll package.
Ooh, package that.
I package my other one.
When I was a kid, we lived in this house, and we had some friends over, and the kids were playing in this room kind of off to itself. And while we were playing, I looked up and I saw a policeman in the room, just standing there, just this policeman. And I kind of looked at it for a second, and then the other kid stopped to look at what I was looking at. And then when we all saw it, we all just ran out of the room screaming, "There's a policeman in the room! There's a policeman in the room!" And of course, our parents come in and there's nobody there.
Oh, wow.
And in this same house, we had some friends that were visiting us, and the lady said that she was up in the middle of the night and she kept seeing someone walking down the hall, and it looked like they were carrying a stick. And then everyone was like, I swore that they weren't up. And we later found out that there was a policeman who had lived in the house and had passed away in that house.
Oh, no way.
And that,
Really?
and that previous residents had thought that it was haunted.
How? You've never shared that story with me. Story with me before. That's really cool.
Haven't I?
I don't think so. You told me
Well, it is
story
true.
about you told me a story from when you were a little older. Well, actually, I think maybe out of high school, in somewhere around there, in high school or out of high school, you shared one story with me. The other most memorable experience I had was I was living in this house in Hearst had two roommates, and um, we used to mess with each other, try to scare each other. I worked nights, and we all worked nights. We're up late. One night I came home and we came in the living room. I'm sitting down. And it was the den. There was a living room in the front of the house. And one of my roommates had rigged fishing wire. We had a table in the living room with poker chips. And he'd rigged the fishing wire and he had it next to him on the couch in the den. So we're sitting there, and then he, without me seeing, yanked the fishing wire, and the poker chips flew off the table in the living room. And I happened to be, I was up, just happened to see it happen.
Nice.
So it kind of scared me. Then I realized, well, I think actually he had to tell me what happened because it kind of scared the crap out of me. But we had a lot of that. And then we got a Ouija board, and that's never a good idea.
They're not
And
creepy at all.
they're not creepy at all. And so we had this Ouija session, and then weird things happened after that. Like,
Opened the door.
kind of felt like we opened the door and didn't close it. One night, one of my roommates came out of his bedroom, and me and the other guy were in the living room. He's like, "You need to come in here for a minute." Like, "What you talking?" He said, "Just come in." And one at a time, he said, "Go walk into my room right now." So, but don't say anything. So one of the guys walked in, and they walked out, and then I walked out, and we both said, "It's freezing in there." He goes, "Yeah, it just happened." And then a couple minutes later, we walked in to the other roommate's room, and it was freezing in there. And we walked back out, but then we walked into the first roommate's room, and it was no longer freezing in there. It was normal. So there were these really cold spots. And I believe somewhere around that time, I don't know if it was that night or not, but I was in bed sleeping, or actually I was awake. I was listening to music, and I must have been one of those half awake, half asleep thing, but kind of that little gray area in between, but I felt like I was
Yeah.
awake. And I saw this shadow in the corner of the room, a shadow figure, and it all of a sudden it came right at me.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember screaming and jumping up. And then the next thing I knew, I hear a knock on my door, and Jay knocked on the door. "Hey, man, are you okay?" Knock on the door. "Are you all right, man?" So I came out of it, and I opened the door, and I just apparently just been sitting on the side of the bed for 5 minutes
Oh,
in
wow.
shock. And I told them what happened, and they said that I screamed like bloody murder, like something had bad had happened. They thought I had a heart attack or something.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of scary. And there was other things like one of my roommates came home one day and the patio door, as soon as he walked in, the patio door slammed shut. And he ran out. Actually, now he's a police officer. Uh, I believe he's a deputy sheriff, or if not a sheriff, in
I think
small
he
town.
is.
Yes, and he's in. He ran out. He had a gun, and he ran out to the lawn out sort of the backyard, and he saw a neighbor, and he asked him if anybody came out there, and they said no. They were sitting there. They were nosy neighbors anyway, so they would have known. So
Wow.
we could have met. We never figured out what happened, but still, so all sorts of weird things happen in that house. But yeah, that's my story. Speaking of stories,
Yes.
I think we should take a pause right now because I think it's time to do a shot. Is it not?
Yeah, we are coming up on 12 minutes.
And when I say shot, I mean toast.
That's what I thought you meant.
Because I'm a sipper.
We are sipping.
That's the sound.
That's a loud sip.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm going to pour a little in. Doesn't that sound good?
That sounds delightful.
That is my Woodford Reserve. I'm still drinking on it. That's the whiskey bottle that is as big as my head.
When did you get that?
Yesterday.
Really?
I got it. I don't know, sometime in February, maybe early February. I'm about halfway through it. That's scary.
No, it's respectful.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't count all the other bottles that you've gone through.
Yes, let's not count those. So let's do a toast. I got a toast for it, Shayne.
All right, let's drink to your toast.
All right. So here's to hell. May my stay there be as much fun as my way there.
Like it.
Shayne, you got some more stories for us? Or
I want to see if my voice does the thing again right after I drink the whiskey.
it didn't. It didn't do it that time.
That is weird.
I have to say I'm a little sad.
I am
That's
too.
better.
I have developed a bit of a cough since last week,
Yeah.
or a few minutes ago, for some reason.
I've lost my sense of taste. Not like I can still taste food. I'm just talking about like I think things are funny that are definitely not funny.
It's kind of like I've lost my sense of decency. So yeah, I guess it's going around.
It's going around.
Right.
So-
This one, I don't remember how old I was. I was maybe 10. I'm gonna throw it out there at 10, but I just remember I was in my bed, and I can't remember if I woke up at night. It's a long time ago. Can't remember if I woke up at night or if I was trying to fall asleep, but I looked up looking up, and there's a ceiling fan above me. And then when I opened my eyes and I look up, and it looked like there's like a female figure hovering above me.
Oh, wow.
And then it seemed like as soon as I opened my eyes that I saw it for a second, and then it like just sort of swirled up into the fan. And so I don't know if it was like that area, that when you're not quite asleep yet, but you're not awake. I think it's called a hypnagogic hallucination, I think is what it's called. But there was that weird thing. Because in that same house, there was always weirdness. There was a friend of mine down the street, 2 houses down, and he would come spend the night. And the way my bed was set up is that, when you'd lay in the bed, I could see down the hallway to past my sister's room to my parents' room. And he would say that it looked like there was someone that was hiding we had a gun rack. Grew up in Texas. We had a gun rack hanging on the wall. And he said it looked like someone was looking out from behind the gun rack and then kind of walking towards us down the hall. But then they would disappear. And then he would see them again, look out from behind the gun rack and kind of walk down the hall. So little spooky things like that would happen now and then.
In the ghost hunter biz, they call that residual energy. Something that's been there before that just keeps repeating itself.
Oh, I didn't know you went to school for that.
No, I'm talking about my vast experience of watching shows.
Watching the ghost hunters. Residual energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think in that house, that there was some residual energy.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about that that period when you're like half awake, half asleep, and you're pretty sure you're awake. Like I don't know about you, but I was sure I was awake. I felt like I was awake, but you can't move. It's that I guess they call it sleep paralysis, and
Ooh,
that's some scary.
like the lady from The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes.
Although I don't think that's what sleep paralysis is, but
Yeah,
it was good for the show.
it's a scary thought to the fact that you're in the grips of this terror and you feel like you're awake but you can't move. So you you can't escape, you can't do you just have to endure whatever this thing you're going through is, and chances are it's just a dream, but it's so real. You feel like you're awake but you can't move.
So did you have the sleep paralysis thing when you saw what you saw?
I no, I don't think I did because I jumped the hell up fast.
And screamed. Now I've also heard, sort of switching out of paranormal more into, I guess, maybe astrophysics, is that time isn't linear, that we only perceive it as linear because of, just our limited perceptions.
Yeah.
And that's why some would say that time is the fourth dimension and you can't see it because we can only see in three dimensions. And that time isn't linear, that everything is always happening at the same time, but you can only see it linearly. Is that a word? Linearly, because of our 3D perceptions.
Is that kind of
So that at now and then when you're not paying attention, you get a glimpse at another time. So you're not really seeing like a spirit or something that's lost or lingering. You're seeing something that's happening at another time. I've heard that theory.
that's interesting. Could that
Back up.
explain?
I might have made that theory myself. I can't remember. It's hard to keep up.
I was going to say that sounds like it could explain the whole deja vu thing. Like,
Yes.
feel like you've been there before, but you probably are experiencing it on a linear level
Yes.
where you're
You're
actually
you're seeing non-linearly. That is hard.
non-linearly.
That's
That's
harder
hard.
to say than epic.
It is much harder.
Linearly.
It's much harder to say than epic. Yes.
I wonder if that's in Duolingo, linearly, or if it's even a real word.
I don't know.
We should Google it here at 19 minutes and 5 seconds.
We should. In fact, you know what we should do at 19 minutes and 5 seconds?
We should call it quits.
We should.
Unless you have another ghost story. I love ghost stories.
You know what?
I especially love real ghost stories.
Yeah, me too. How about this? How about we do this? How about let's do this? Let's do another.
There it is.
Another-
Linearly. Linear.
Let's do another round on ghost stories in the very near future.
How near? Let's do it in a couple of weeks, maybe.
Or not.
Yes. What I would like to do maybe is bring on a couple of your roommates from that house on Madrid and hear a couple of more ghost stories.
Well, that's
Maybe
a good
bring
idea.
on. Yeah.
Because they could tell you some tricks they used to play on me, which were just as great as the ghost stories.
Even better.
So, Shayne, why don't you take us on home?
Taking us on home.
Oh, before you do
it's
that,
been a couple of weeks since we asked people to subscribe and to
thank you.
leave a review.
Yes.
So please do that. It helps us. More importantly, it helps people find us, which helps us.
Exactly. Because nobody
and
doesn't want to be found.
it's yeah. And it's like it's a good deed, it's a good deed for the day, and you can sleep well at night knowing that you did a good deed for us.
Huh.
There's awkward silence.
Well, I think that
So-
just about does it.
It doesn't feel good. So
Hopefully the music
The
gets
show
out is playing right now.
I think the music has started playing.
Okay, good.
The time of we say we'll see you next week. on the next round of
Dear thirsty